Turkish Journal of Applied Social Work. I will read this article on behalf of QR code application using of the disabled peoples all over the world. My name is Özden Şahin from Sakarya University. Examination of ageist attitudes in terms of some variables among social work students. Abstract. This research aims to assess the attitudes of social work students toward ageism in terms of some variables such as gender, grade, will to work with elders in the future, and having fun to spend time with old people. The research was conducted on Ankara University social work students in the spring term of 2017. 153 students participated in the research. The Ageism Attitude Scale AAS was used in this research. The research was designed as a descriptive study. The average score of the participants was 91.32. It was found that the attitude of female students towards older people was more positive and less discriminatory ageist than of males. Similarly, the attitude of peoples willing to work with older people in the future was found to be better compared to other groups. Moreover, the percentage of students who stated a desire to work with older people in the first rank with a higher priority was only 14.4%. Keywords: ageism, social work students, older people, attitudes toward older people. Introduction. The increasing trend of larger older population can be seen in Turkey similar to global scale. The older population, 65 years and above, in Turkey was 7.7% in 2013. However, it increased to 8.3% in 2016. According to population projections, it is expected to reach 10.2% in 2023, 20.8% in 2050, and 27.7% in 2075. According to 2016 data, there are 408 private and public nursing homes, and the services of these institutions are benefited from 30,832 older individuals. Moreover, 8,206 older individuals are waiting in the queue to be replaced in one of the nursing rooms connected to Ministry of Family and Health. In addition to these limited opportunities, a prejudiced and discriminatory attitude towards the elderly can sometimes be observed in the society. Society generally regards old people as a decrease in physical and mental activity, loss of identity and status, loss of respect, and increase in dependency on others. Because thoughts about death are generally latent and cause stress, negative meaning associated with the old age and the old people can spread in the society quite easily. This situation shows the need for reforms to prevent discrimination against older people and for strengthening policies for old age welfare. One of the most important disciplines for old age welfare is social work. As known, social work is a care and solidarity job based on increasing clients' social function and helping clients become self-sufficient in the long term through professional assistance. The uniqueness of social work comes from the fact that it works from a person-in-environment perspective. Therefore, it regards its subjects, who can be individuals, groups, organizations, societies, and even bigger masses, as a system that mutually affect each other. Social work is a profession that respects the right of self-determination of individuals, families, groups, and societies, and directs the clients to be empowered to find their own solutions. It aims to increase the welfare of the individuals by employing a holistic approach and thus assesses and helps clients through a multifaceted approach. In this way, it utilizes the knowledge from different disciplines such as psychology, medicine, sociology, philosophy, economy, anthropology, law, and social policy. Naturally, there are professional practitioners of the social work profession who work according to this framework. It is essential that social work undergraduate students as social work practitioners candidates and social workers as practitioners of the social work discipline should be equipped to work with older people as well as avoiding discrimination in their professional and personal attitudes. As it is known, especially elderly people are frequently exposed to ageist attitudes. Ageism refers to prejudice and discrimination on the grounds of a person's age. Generally, the elderly people are exposed to ageist attitudes by other young groups. There are several appearances related to ageism, like considering elderly people as in need of care and dependent persons, abusing the elderly, excluding the elderly from society, and not taking into consideration the elderly people. All these views affect the elderly people negatively. We know that both professionals and social work students will directly influence the quality of service provided by adopting a mode that avoids ageist discriminatory attitudes toward the elderly individuals. For this reason, students who are still in training for their profession need to be trained from an early stage to acknowledge this issue. This study aims to research the attitudes of social work undergraduate students toward ageism in the case of students in the Ankara University Social Work Department. The attitudes of students were evaluated based on many variables such as gender, grade, thinking of working with the old, etc. No other research has been found in the current literature that analyzes the attitudes of social work students with an emphasis on ageism. This shows the originality of the research. There are some studies about attitudes towards the elderly people on the literature. So this study differs from the others by the ageism emphasis. Materials and methods. Research model and sample selection. The general screening model was chosen for this study, aimed at providing a description of the actuality. The universe of this descriptive study is all the undergraduate students of the social work department in health science faculty at the Ankara University during the spring semester of 2017 academic year, number 320. With the aim of reaching half of the student population, the study managed to reach the above target with 153 students. Therefore, the research sample consists of 153 students who studied in the Ankara University Social Work undergraduate degree during the spring semester of 2017. The main descriptive characteristics of the participants are shown below on Table 1. Most of the participants are female students, and most of them are students between ages 16 and 21, and the remaining students are older. A majority of the students have chosen the social work department consciously, but a small minority have stated otherwise. The first graders are the largest participants in the study, and third graders are the smallest participants. A vast majority of the students live away from their families. Most of the students have at least one person in their family who is above 65 years old, and the rest have no family members above 65 years old. Of the participants, 51.6% like to be with old people, and 43.8% sometimes like, and 4.6% don't like to be with other people. Those who aim to work with old people constitute 62.1%, and those who don't constitute 37.9%. Only 40.4% of the students have chosen older people as the group they most wanted to work with. Data collection tools. A personal information form, which consists of 17 questions, and AAS were used in the research. The AAS is a scale that was developed by Vefik Kuluçay Yılmaz and Terzioğlu, and it aims to assess ageist attitudes. It is like a Likert type scale, which consists of 23 items and offers 5 different possible answers: completely disagree, undecided, agree, and completely agree. The maximum score in the AAS is 115 and the minimum is 23. The positive responses score 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and the negative scores are 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Cronbach-Alpha coefficient of the scale is calculated as 0.18. The AAA consists of 3 dimensions. The first dimension, limiting the life of the old, contains beliefs and perceptions about limiting the social lives of the old. The questions 1, 5, 23, 22, 12, 17, 21, 19 and 14 are related to this aspect of the scale, with the maximum score for this aspect at 45 and the minimum at 9. The reliability coefficient for this dimension is calculated as 0.70. The second dimension, positive discrimination towards the old, contains beliefs and perceptions that are positive towards the old. Questions 13, 8, 9, 7, 2, 6, 20 and 4 are related to this aspect of the scale, with the maximum score for this aspect at 40 and the minimum at 8. The reliability coefficient for this dimension is calculated as 0.70. The third dimension, negative discrimination towards the old, contains beliefs and perceptions that are negative towards the old. Questions 16, 11, 15, 3, 18 and 10 are related to this aspect of the scale, with the maximum score for this aspect at 30 and the minimum at 6. The reliability coefficient for this dimension is calculated as 0.67. The reliability coefficient for this research is calculated as 0.89 for AAS, 0.78 for limiting the life of the old dimension, 0.83 for positive discrimination towards the old dimension, and 0.71 for negative discrimination towards the old dimension. Ethical issues. Permission from the Ethics Committee at the Mehmet Akif Ersoy University and the institutional permission from Social Work Department at Ankara University were granted for this research to be conducted, and all the data were collected with the consent of the students. We took special care to ensure that only students who volunteered participated in the study. Data collection and data analysis. All of the students participated in the study voluntarily. Half of the students filled the research forms in their classrooms and half of the students filled the forms online by using internet. The data were analyzed using SPSS 294 and the Mann-Whitney U and Kruskal-Wallis tests were applied. Due to the calculated kurtosis and skewness values, which were not between minus 1.5 and plus 1.5, non-parametric tests were applied. Furthermore, the results of the spiral-Walk test was not suitable to use parametric tests. Findings. The average AAS score of the participants was calculated to be 91.32. The maximum possible score was 115. Therefore, it is possible to claim that the attitudes of the assessed students were mostly positive towards the old. As the data were not normally distributed, non-parametric tests were applied for the analysis. Although there was no significant difference between the gender groups, the female students were found to be less discriminatory against the old in terms of the average scores on AAS and AAS subscales. We think that this difference can be associated with the social gender norms and the caretaker role attributed to women by the society. The participants who stated they didn't want to work with the old scored significantly less on the AAS and AAS subscales than those who stated they did want to. This demonstrates that those who don't want to work with old people show attitudes that are more discriminatory towards them. Also seen in Table 4, the 4th graders' average scores on AAS and on the limiting the life of the old, positive discrimination towards the old, and the negative discrimination towards the old subscales are significantly higher than students from other grades. Therefore, it can be said that they are less discriminatory against old. However, it is concerning that the 3rd graders had a lower average score. When the significant differences between the groups are examined, it can be observed that many such differences were established in terms of both scale and subscale average scores. Generally, significant differences occurred between 4th graders and the other grades. Similar to the results in Table 3, the average scores on the AAS and AAS subscales of the groups indicated that they sometimes like and dislike being together with the old people were significant between almost all groups. In summary, the students who stated that they like to be with old people have a less discriminatory ageist attitude towards the old according to the average scores. Furthermore, the student group that stated they don't want to be with the old people exhibited the most ageist attitudes. Discussion and conclusion. This study, which was conducted on Ankara University Social Work Department undergraduate students in the spring semester of 2017, aimed to discussion and conclusion. This study, which was conducted on Ankara University Social Work Department undergraduate students in the spring semester of 2017, aimed to assess the attitudes of the students towards discriminating against the old in terms of some variables. 153 students who were from the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grades participated in this study, and this number amounts to nearly half of the total student population. We believe that this descriptive study is important because it is the first one that assesses the ageist attitudes of social work students towards the older people, especially in terms of discrimination. The average score of the participants was calculated to be 91.32. The maximum possible score was 115. When this result is compared with the results of similar researches, some differences which of the following could be seen. Altan and Aydın's study, in which they examined the ageist attitudes of nursing students, found their average score to be 68.82 minus plus 8.54. Vefik Uluçay, Yılmaz, and Terzioğlu, in their foundational study of the AAS scale, calculated the average AAS scale of 500 students from different departments and found it to be 86.22 minus plus 9.34. This is a lower score than the social work students' score. The fact that the average score of the social work students is found to be higher than the other students' groups' score emphasizes their positive attitudes towards the old. In the study conducted by Duru Aşiret et al., it was found that the UCLA geriatrics attitude scale of nurses was on average 48 out of 70. Bakırhan et al. Found that the UCLA GA scale of 1,270 psychometry and rehabilitation students and scored an average of 48.115 minus plus 5.67 out of 70 in their research. This result again emphasizes the positive attitudes. According to Zehirlioğlu, Yönt, Bayat, and Günay, the attitudes of 135 nurses, all of whom work in university hospitals, were found to be marginally positive. According to the study by Duyan et al., which was conducted on 419 social work students from different universities, it was found that the average score of the students was 130.96, and that they generally displayed positive attitudes towards the old. Only our research, which was conducted on social work department undergraduate students at Ankara University in the spring semester of 2017, shows a relatively higher average growth score, which identifies a positive attitude towards the old than the study by Duyan et al. Social work students' positive attitudes towards the old can be interpreted as an expected result of social work education and its nature, which defends disadvantaged groups. In the study by Zambrini et al., which was conducted on 472 university students in healthcare departments in Spain, it was found that 74% of the students had a positive attitude towards the old, more so with female students than with male students. Moreover, it was discovered that students of psychology and psychotherapy and rehabilitation wish to specialize in geriatrics more, but medical students wish to do so the least. Mandıracıoğlu and Lüleci conducted another study on 277 pharmacy students. They found that female students had less discriminatory attitudes towards the old. According to Duyan et al.'s research, there is no relation between gender or age group and attitude towards the old. According to Danish et al.'s research conducted on 219 social work and 181 nursing students in Turkey, generally both departments' students' attitudes towards the elderly were found similar. Söz Vurmaz and Mandıracıoğlu conducted a study on 236 students on their attitudes towards the old and their aging anxiety. They found that participants had positive attitudes towards the old, but aging anxieties were found to be abundant. Mosher, Ashley, and Ball conducted another study on 119 students. They were all studying on Massachusetts in the following departments: management, psychology, nursing, and occupational therapy. Researchers didn't find any significant relation between age or department of the participant and their attitudes towards the old. In this research, it was also found that senior class students had more positive attitudes towards the old and they were less discriminatory towards the old. Moreover, AAS scores of the female students were found to be higher than the scores of the males. In other words, females have more positive attitudes towards the old and they are less discriminatory towards the old. So, in the light of the result of this research, the high scores of the social work students on AAS could be explained both with the social work education, which is focused on vulnerable groups and their welfare, and the majority of the female students. Those female students are considered more engaged with old people due to the gender roles attributed to women by the society. Those females are considered more engaged with old people due to the gender roles attributed to women by society. Bakırhan et al.'s study, which was conducted on psychotherapy students using UCLA-GR scale, found that similar to our study, female students had more positive and less discriminatory attitudes towards the old. According to another result of this research, fourth graders' average scores on the AAS and on each subscale are significantly higher than students from other grades. This difference can perhaps be explained again by the effects of social work education. However, it is concerning that the third graders had a lower average score. Therefore, it can be said that the third grade consists of students who are the most discriminatory. Although it is a small possibility, it can be said that more third grade students with discriminatory attitudes participated in the study by chance. Additionally, it is found that those who live with an old person, those who wish to live with an old person or family member, those who visit nursing homes, those who wish to work in geriatrics after graduating, and lastly, those who participated in workshops and meetings in their study period had more positive attitudes and behaviors towards the old. According to Duru Aşiret et al. Study, which was conducted on 227 nursery students, it was found that those who wish to work with the old in the future scored higher on their UCLA-GR scale. Similarly, in our research, we found that those who wish to work with the old exhibited less discriminatory attitudes towards the old than those who didn't want to work with them. Furthermore, it was determined that those who like to be with old people exhibited less discriminating attitudes towards the old than those who don't or only sometimes like to do so. In conclusion, our research showed that most of the undergraduate students in the social work department had a non-discriminatory, non-ageist attitude towards the old. Nonetheless, However, it was also found that there were some students who scored very low according to scale. Additionally, those who choose to work with old as their first choice were just 14.4%. This shows that although most of the samples had positive attitudes, those who wish to work with the old are a fewer group of students in the first place. By revealing such an important outcome, this research can contribute both to the literature and social work field. It is also clear that these results can be taken into consideration when rethinking and reforming social work education policy. It is well known that Turkey doesn't have a large population of old people. However, it is also one of the countries with the most rapidly aging population. As Liu et al. Note, those who work in the medical sector are affected by the societal attitudes, and transforming these attitudes, which are spread throughout the community, requires a structured process. To sum up, the research shows that the vast majority of students have non-ageist attitudes. However, those who prefer to work with older people are less in number. Some reforms are needed for promotion of working with older people and for the education of discriminating students. Prejudices and beliefs which encourage ageism should be challenged through students and community education, and occasionally through public service broadcastings and social campaigns. Moreover, geriatric work should be encouraged in universities with social work education. By instilling empathy in this education, the difficulties experienced in the old age and the issue of empowerment of old people should be dealt with more intensively. Moreover, the number of welfare internships for older people should be increased in social work departments so as to increase possibilities for students.